Hi, I'm Greg Schaefer, and welcome to the Virtual CISO Moment. It's February 21st, 2022, and Russian President Putin just announced that Russia is announcing the recognition of parts of Ukraine as being independent. And this is part of an ongoing Ukrainian crisis, Russian-Ukrainian crisis that's been unfolding over the last couple of weeks. This particular podcast episode isn't directly related to what specifically is going on in that area of the world, but rather you got me thinking that there's a vital importance for security leaders and businesses in general to have a good understanding of what's going on geopolitically around the globe, because often these things can have information security repercussions. It's pretty obvious the Russian tie, because we've talked about and we've seen a lot of times where some of the prevalent intrusions and attacks source from in the Russian Federation. It's just something that has become a part of information security. We know that it's a threat out there. It's just, I mean, it's not to say that attacks don't emulate solely from any one country. Certainly they can come from any country, including in the United States. But we recognize that as part of the threat environment, and so particularly if, for example, your company doesn't do much business or any business with Russia or Ukraine or any other country out there, and you start to see activity sourcing from those areas, well, that might be a red flag right there. Even from the standpoint of it might just be a reconnaissance against your network. But the reason why I wanted to talk about that today is that you notice that I have actually the news on here on actually an old Chromebook that works very well as a TV now. I constantly have the news on one of the news stations to have an idea of what's going on in the world as part of my overall threat awareness. Now, we talk a lot about in information security about threat awareness. A lot of times people might interpret that as meaning, well, okay, information security awareness training, well, that's sort of like the basic level. Those are the common foundation things that exist no matter what the threat environment, good passwords and so forth. And then there's the subscribing to certain services or being part of certain organizations, such as FSISAC for financial services, or any ISAC, depending upon your sector. That's Information Sharing and Analysis Center. Certainly other organizations like InfraGuard, which is the public-private partnership. It's a lot of P's there. Between the FBI and the rest of the organizations, I guess, in the United States. So that's another component of awareness. And then you have your media, your websites, such as Krebs on Security is one that I'm sure is familiar to some of you. If you're not familiar with it, it's a good site. Brian Krebs has been working in that space for many, many years. But something as simple as keeping track of what's going on in the world real time can help with your immediate awareness. So again, I get back to President Putin's announcement or speech, if you will. It wasn't really much of a surprise, but that this is happening. And so now you're going to see posturing on either side. You're going to see, or on multiple sides, because this isn't quite a 1-2 side thing, but you're going to see the responses from the global community in various aspects, including within Ukraine. And you're probably going to see people wanting to take advantage of this, and not necessarily from a governmental standpoint. Sure, there's always the threat of state-sponsored attacks as part of an overall, I don't want to say cyber war. I don't like using the word war indiscriminately, but as part of a strategy, if you will, for navigating these situations. But more so, I think, this enhances the threat of independent cyber actors, criminals, really, taking advantage of these sorts of same situations to provide a vector in to try to get folks to either A, do something, you know, like phishing and all that, or to probe um, sites so that they can exploit something based on what's going on out there that they're going to take advantage of. Now, I'm not suggesting that you need to have a TV on in your office all the time. For some people, I would imagine that it would be distracting. For me, I actually grew up as a kid doing my homework after school in front of a 27-inch or so Zenith color TV. It was our first color TV. We got it, I think, in 1978, which as I digress, which I like to do, watching Star Trek in color as a kid was just amazing. It's like, oh, red shirts. And it would only be later on when I'd understand just exactly why being a red shirt wasn't exactly the best idea in Star Trek lore. But let me return from my digression back to awareness. Don't discount awareness. Keep your pulse on what's going on within the world and also within your community as well. I've spoken on this before about phishing campaigns based on current events. If you do any sort of testing with phishing, that's one of the things that testing platforms try to exploit. The COVID-19 has been a big one the last couple of years. Tax laws, anything that's current in the news. So another current thing going on right now is the so-called Freedom Convoy up in Canada, and apparently one developing here in the United States. Well, that's another one of those hot topic items. Actually, I just thought about one that's a big hot topic one right now is the new social media platform that former President Trump has created that's causing a stir. It's one of the top, what do they call that on Twitter? It's trending, that's the word. Amazing how you lose your train of thought sometimes. Anyway, and that's another good point too. It's to look at Twitter to see what's trending. That can often give you an idea of where you might find some vectors coming in. So information security is about holistic threat awareness, and the more that you can enhance that threat awareness, the better. So that's really my message for today. This is sort of an impromptu one based on what was happening on the news. But I wanted to add one other thing too, since I've been working on this today as sort of a sneak peek, if you will, of preview. Some of you might be familiar with the ebook that we offer both for sale on Amazon or for free on our website at vcisoservices.com called Information Security for SMBs, or small and mid-sized businesses. We're working on creating a print version of that with slight modifications, and actually, as you can see, this is the first printout of it right now. Working on the formatting, working on a couple of updates. It's the way that we're planning it out and formatting it is, it looks like it's going to be 91 pages of really great information that we will have available, if we can get this done on time, at conferences that we're at and other venues. Plus, we'll have it available for sale on Amazon and the other platforms as well too. And one other announcement too, and I'll be talking about this in the coming weeks more so as well, is that we are returning. I'm so excited about this. We are returning to the conference circuit as far as from doing the vendor booth thing. We will be at the Tennessee Bankers Association conference in late April in our hometown here of Franklin, Tennessee. I couldn't say no. It's virtually right down the street. Usually it's several miles away, 20 miles or so away in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, but now it's going to be down here, so that will be in late April. We may be at some other conferences. We may be speaking at a couple of other conferences as the year goes on. We're excited to get back involved with that now that we are returning to basically the way life was before the COVID hit, and now that we've hit the endemic state and things are pretty much back to normal. So As always, if there's anything that we can do for you, um, whether it be an actual formal quote of services for virtual CISO services, or if you just have a suggestion or a question in the virtual CISO space, I mean, that's something that um, really we love to answer, we love to talk about. This is, I've said it many times before, yes, it is a career for me, and it is how I pay the bills, but it's also a calling, and that's even more so. It's a calling for me, and however I can help, I'd be happy to do it. So until next time, I was going to have one more announcement, but I think I'll save that for next week. Until next time, stay secure.